Hello everybody and welcome back to Europa, where we are currently sieging a lot of different places, and we'll be wrapping up some of these sieges pretty soon. That will of course be very good. In fact, there's the siege of Berber already done. So we're gonna hop down over here next. I don't think we can go here. Yeah, that's blocked by the zone of control of this fort. So this fort has to go down first. Senar is now successful. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to move these guys over to their capital in Kosa. And I think that's their capital, right? I'm pretty sure that's their capital. Anyway, we're going to hop over to here. And these guys, what I'd really like them to do is make their way out over this direction. Because out over here, we have some capitals that we can't get there. Yeah, this is Terra Incognita down here. Okay. In that case, I'll just position these guys about up here, where they're going to be about centrally located, so that they can respond if Alodia manages to bring an army to any of these locations. If they do, it'll be one of these two. They can't get here, I'm almost certain of. So that'll be fine. There's a serious lack of food for the 10th Army up over here, and that's noted. They're probably going to take some... Oh, that was a big attrition hit. Okay. So the general over here died as well. So we might want to move these guys over to take over this siege and relieve this force for the time being, and have them go get more food. That's probably not a terrible idea. So I'll have them hop over there for now. And there they go. They have arrived. And now I want these guys to pull out. Can we not? Apparently we can't leave. That's interesting. Why are we not allowed to leave? I'll let it tick for a moment. Is it due to not having food? If we group these together, they should share their food. In theory. So that's fine for now, I guess. I don't know why we couldn't leave, though. So we're at 98% war score right now. And that's definitely something to think about. How much are we actually going to take from Alodia? Well, I kind of had it in my head to make them our vassal. I don't know if that's viable. That might require too much war score. We can investigate. We're at 100% war score right now. So if we did this... Let's see. Revoke cores of Alodia. That's not what I want. Country treaties? Alodia becomes a vassal. Yeah. So you can see that's going to cost 175.47 war score. That means we can never, ever have them accept this, I don't think. Actually, we can. This is a peace offer. The war score cost is not in this. What is the war score cost here? Okay, yeah, that is the war score cost. Okay, so we can't actually do that. So that's understood. For the moment, in that case, that means that we need to continue to push through out over here. Hang on. What do you mean you can't move? Let's tick it. You can come up over here. That's interesting. These are going to auto cap, but I guess it's because, oh, these are connected. These are adjacent here. So we're in the zone of control of this fort. That's very unfortunate. So this out over here is actually two separate locations. I didn't even notice that. We need to cap here. So we'll do that for now, and we'll just work through this. Now, the question is, how much of Alodia do we want to take? The answer is certainly a decent chunk. But let's grab this, and we'll see how much the game lets us take. It's not going to let us take everything. This is the only available technology at this point, and that's absolutely fine. We'll take that. Okay, so that seems fine, and I'd really like to see this siege here finish. Then we can come up and we can take, like, this city up over here, but to be honest, the question is, how much territory can we take from them? We definitely want back what they took from us. Illegitimately, as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to do that. We're going to take back this territory over here for sure. And we are going to certainly be doing a little more than that. We need to cut our minting ever so slightly here to be about here at our target earning rate. And we also need to be paying off what loans we can. We still have a decent amount of debt. So we're going to repay what loans we can. And that was 1 loan. Okay, and then Alodia gained 20 opinion of us. This seems ambitious, but okay, sure. So now we would want to go siege up over here, right? But really, I'd like these guys to move back and these to be the ones that would go siege up over here. But in reality, the question is, do we even want to take more territory than what we have occupied? That's the question we need to ask. I'm letting this auto cap first, and we'll take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so we don't have this up over here. We're going to have this siege done very, very soon. So if we do that, let's let that finish. It could finish here, and it did. That means that we can walk over here, and we can grab these 2 locations quite easily at this point. We can start a siege up here. I'm not committing to finishing that siege at this time. But we can then walk out over this direction. And that seems good. I am going to repay a loan here. We are paying a fair amount in interest, and that's noted. Actually, we're putting a lot of money into food right now. That is something I will look into after this war is over. That is quite a lot of money, after all. Okay, so we're going to hop down over here. And that looks good. So this siege up over this direction, it's going to progress for a while. I'm not too concerned about it right now. What I really want to do is just get this fully occupied out over here. And I don't even think we're going to be able to take all of this. We can't even vassalize them. So why would we be able to annex all of this? But I want to figure out what exactly we want to annex, right? And that's going to be an interesting question, for sure. We'll see what our antagonism looks like. But honestly, antagonism hasn't been a serious issue for us as of yet. So I'm not going to finish this siege, I don't think. Let's go ahead and see what we can get for peace. So Alodia becomes a vassal, would now only take 158 war score. That's interesting that that dropped by 20. Can we see why? No, we can't. We can't send this demand, even if they would accept, which they only have 11 reasons to not accept. But we can't send that regardless. So at this point, we're just looking to take land. We definitely want to take these forts. This is basically what we had previously that they took from us. And that's absolutely fine. At this point, we can see that that's 42 war score. So if we were to come down over here and take a little bit more out over this direction, that's 82 war score. That's 99 war score. So this is 102, and I would like to back off on something like that. We take a bite out of them like this. And we take whatever gold they're willing to give us, which that, I shift-clicked it, but that did not bring us to the maximum like it would in Europa 4. So that's good to know. We're going to have to sit right here. So we take 28 gold, and this is the most that we can take. Done. Okay, so that is now completed, and I want to disband these lads up over here. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure that we didn't have a problem from disbanding them in non-controlled territory, and we didn't. So now we want to detach our levies, and we want to make sure our levies are selected. These levies are going to head home, and then our professional forces are going to head back over this way. So we've got all of our original territory, plus a little bit more taken out of Alodia up over there. That seems good. Now, devastation, obviously, we need to work on. I'm going to have this guy start working on that, but not any of the others. So we're just going to do Upper Butana up over here. I want to get these integrations completed, ideally. Eventually, anyway. So that's fine. We have a lot of non-integrated provinces, and we need to work on those. So to that end, we're making 27.36 ducats per month. I don't think that's true. This is because of our income from ending the war, I think. Our diplomatic income. I don't see that in there. Let's see if it remains at plus 27.36. And actually, we can bump that up even more. by dropping our... Okay, yeah, that went down to 17.26. We can drop our fort maintenance. We can drop our army maintenance. We're going to need a little bit of cost of the court. So 29.37. I mean, that's pretty solid. We can continue to do that until we get our loans paid off. Yemen is no longer a valid rival for us. Interesting. Ephod is their vassal, it looks like. Their color changed. So Yemen might be too strong for us, quote unquote. I don't think that's actually true. But they might, quote unquote, be too strong for us. So for now, that's fine. We're losing money at this juncture. Okay, now we're back to relatively standard amounts of money flowing in. So that seems fine. I'll just leave these guys out over here for the moment. Demands of a professional army. Ooh, 25% towards professional armies would be very solid. We'll take that. We certainly want that to happen. Okay, so that all seems fine for now. There's new markets forming. That's all very understood. Now, we're going to want to cut our minting here soon. My question is, where's all of our money going right now? Because we have no army maintenance, and our minting is basically maxed at this moment. So where's our money going? I mean, army maintenance. We are paying a lot for our army maintenance. I think it's because we're reinforcing. I'm pretty sure that's how that's going. Once we're done reinforcing, I think this will no longer be a problem. So we need to keep in mind that we have a decent number of these. It's going to be, what, 21? Yeah, 21,000 or 2,100. So we're going to have that reinforced fairly soon. I'm pretty sure that's where our money is going right now. Okay, so we just finished with Upper Butana, and we need to continue to work on recovery effort. Now, remember, these are going to passively improve by half a point per month because of the technology. But I still want to get this done, and we need to get these integrations finished up as soon as we can. So I want to put this money currently towards getting our loans paid off, which we can pay off about a third of our loans right now, which is good. And I want to continue to work on recovery effort. This is actually the only location to work on recovery effort now. So that looks good. We'll get that finished on up. Controversial protectionist, huh? We could lose legitimacy or we could lose prestige. We have no prestige to lose, so I will lose the 0 prestige. Sounds good. So that all seems okay for right now. And there's our navy finished up. Now, we have no research ongoing, but we have no research to do either. So let me... Yeah, this isn't giving me the active research. We have no research to do. We can accumulate a little bit, but it's only so much. So that's a little problematic for us. Do we have any way to improve our institution growth here? No, we don't. So we want to work on integration. We have a lot of unintegrated provinces, right? So I'm going to actually sort by progress, how integrated it already is. I want to get some of these done. So we're going to work on that instead of working on, like, by population base, because that is taking a very long time. So that's okay, and I want to work on paying off some of this debt. There we go. There's 2 more loans paid off. Fantastic. So our debt is now 196.72 ducats. Seems good. Now, I do want to continue to cut our minting, but it's still growing at this moment. And again, I think that's because we're reinforcing. 1885, 1898. So that's not reinforcing a huge amount, but I'm pretty sure that's our primary army maintenance thing here. Yeah, we can see armies reinforcing, but that's only 0.1. Interesting. So it's just going to be expensive. And we're also spending a lot of money on food, particularly up in Lower Butana. To that end, we might be better off taking a couple of loans here, I know, and going up to Lower Butana here. So Lower Butana is up over this direction. And building an RGO for food production up over here. So this would be in Debark. Where exactly is Lower Butana? That is specifically over here in, like, Soba. Okay, so that's this province out over here. So if we open the RGO builder, this would be... We cannot afford 153. Okay, so that's 153 out here. Is that due to control level? Lumber is expensive out over in this area. Okay, that's noted. So that would be stone anyway. So this is stone up over here, ivory. This would be livestock over this way, and then there's sturdy grains out over here. So I think for the moment, I'm just going to build a grain RGO out over here to produce more food in this area. We definitely need more food production out over here. That is very clear. So if we can do that, then that would drop our food a little bit anyway. I'm not sure how it interacts with the different markets, though, because if we look into our markets here, well, actually, all of this is within the Axum market. Okay. I was under the impression we had a couple of different markets within our territory, and we kind of do. We've got the Adon market out over here. But all of this is within the Axum market. So that is all within the same market. What that means is I'm actually going to go heavily into debt right now. Up to around 450. It's a lot of debt, I'm aware. But as of right now, I want to build a lot of food production RGOs up here in the Axum market. So I'm going to build one down over here. I'm going to build one over here. I'm going to build one over here. I'm going to build one in multiple areas within the Axum market. So I just want this to be kind of spread out over here. So we have some RGOs going into a bunch of different areas over here now. That should dramatically help our food production in the Axum market, because we're spending 9 ducats per month on this right now, and that's absurd. We do not want to be spending 9 ducats per month on that. So we're going to get these farms expanded here fairly soon. And that will dramatically help our situation. But we're paying a lot in interest as well. And we will have to handle that. I'm going to crank our minting up to maximum for right now, because we are going to need to be working on paying down that debt eventually. But for right now, I think that's very worthwhile. You can see our food expenditure has already dropped by 3 ducats per month, which is very significant. And I want to produce more food, for sure. So that looks good. If we can replace that food buying with a food surplus, that should offset our interest right there. So a lot of our farms just finished up, and we can see minus 4.25, but if we look into our RGOs here, we can see some of these, or one of them, lacks employees, and that's understood. So for now, that seems fine. We will continue to get some of these RGOs built. And we're making a decent chunk of money right now, overall. So that looks good. There goes another farm constructing, and another farm. So on this next month tick, we can see we're down below 4 ducats per month being spent on food. Okay, 3.66 now. I'm expecting that to go down further than it has, but even so, that does indicate that we have definitely reduced the food deficit. We might need to do more on food production than what we've done here. Okay, down to 3.36. It might take some time. Okay, a lot of these are going to be hiring in RGO employees. So that's understood. We could afford to lose some opinion here. There we go. That's fine. So that sounds okay for now. And we're going to finish up our final farm over here pretty shortly, which will help matters even more. There's a rebel movement, the Afar Patriots, that are brewing up over here. I don't really care that much unless they go join another nation, which I kind of doubt they will, but we need to get these integrations done. So that looks good for now. We're going to be finishing up one of our integrations soon. Exiles in the Kingdom of Alodia, very rude. Very, very rude. And we can also see that Daju is apparently fighting Alodia up over here, so that's exciting for them, I'm sure. So we're making a decent amount of money right now. I could make the argument that we need to cut our minting, and we do, but I'm going to put this money into paying off debt for now instead. That's going to be the goal. Now, here's a question. How can we deal with this regency? Because we're being ruled by a noble's regency indefinitely because our ruling family died out, and there wasn't really much we could do about that. So how can we get a new ruling family is a question that I have. Because that's what we need at this moment, is a new ruling family. We can't do a royal marriage. That's not a thing that we can do, apparently. And this person is our regent at this moment. So how can we do this? There must be a way. We could form a new country, but that's obviously going to be a bit problematic. As far as getting a new royal family goes, how would we do that? Because that'll be interesting. Well, we gained some research progress, but we don't have anything to research, and we're probably capped on our research progress anyway, so I'm not putting money into that. That is definitely not going to be happening. So that sounds fine, and I want to check in. How are we doing on that food? Okay, so we still definitely need some RGOs, particularly up in this area. I'm not sure how much that... It probably just goes into the entire market, right? So if we go into the market here, we can see that the price of livestock is down, the price of wheat is down, the price of sturdy grains is down, the price of fruit is pretty up right now. So if we were going to make another RGO, it should be a fruit generating RGO, right? So that would mean, no, I don't want to make a new market. I want to make a new RGO. Here we go. Making new markets is an interesting idea, though. That's for sure. So fruit. We produce fruit down over, like, this way. So this would be in Debark, and this is the most profitable. But Debark is already at minus 856 laborers. So we might not want to build it there, and instead build it in, like, Mandalay. Which would be interesting for sure. The profit per level over here is only 0.27 compared to 1.22 here. Why is that? Are these in different markets? It's possible. So let's go into here. Let's look at markets. No, that should be within the Axum market. Interesting. I'm also not seeing that our RGO in Debark is missing employees. But we have negative available there. Very interesting indeed. So we should probably build here in Debark no matter what. Yeah, I think we should. So we're going to need to wait for another month or two, depending on rounding. It's going to be close. But yeah, I do want to get this construction going over here. More fruit coming in. Now, Yemen has declared war on us. Okay, I'm not surprised about this. I'm sad, but I'm not surprised. So we're going to have to bump up our army maintenance and our fort maintenance. And this, of course, means that we're going to be running a big deficit. So that's very, very sad. No doubt about it. We're going to need to defend ourselves, and we're going to need to raise up our levies. We'll raise all of our levies, and I want to check in on Yemen. So if we look at the country panel, we're a fair bit weaker than them. They now have access to 900 regulars. Okay. So that's noted. They only have 10,000 troops, though. Apparently. That's a large coalition. Interesting. Well, we're going to raise our forces, and we'll do our normal. The main problem is our finances right now are not in a good state. So, to that end, we could take more loans. Or we could just try to ride it out. And I think that's what we're going to do. So their goal, their war goal, is to take Dobia. which is, if I remember correctly, right over here. Let me check the provincial map mode. Yeah, so it's this. They want to take that. So that's understood, and we will group our forces together. So we want to group our forces together and be down over here, right? We did just finish integrating, which is nice. And we'll have these guys come in and group like down over here for right now. So what else can we integrate or perhaps work on? Well, we could do a strengthen government to put money elsewhere, but we're going to be running a deficit no matter what at that point. I think what we need to do is we need to start working on more integration here. And that's going to be this up over here. So we'll get working on that. That'll be fine. I was hoping that they wouldn't attack us again immediately, especially since we were no longer eligible to be their rival. And we're stronger than we were last time we fought them, I feel like. So we can see here, okay, they've got about 50k in total. Somalia is only 6k of that now. And they're going to be pinned in by some of these forts. Some of these forts. So that is noted. And our forces are going to be grouping together out over here. The question is, when is Yemen actually going to attack us? Now, this is awkward for us that our finances are in this situation, right? No doubt about that. And apparently this guy's in process of taking command of this army. Okay, noted. So our reinforcements are going to be coming in over here, and the question is, what can we do to stop this? Well, these guys are not relevant to us, so that's noted. They're going to have a hard time pushing through the north up over here. We've got a good number of forts out over this direction. It's going to be difficult for them out over here. And they were forced to delete a bunch of their forts out over here. So we can head in and take this location. And apparently these guys just kind of wandered up straight through these forts. Okay. Yeah, zone of control would be awkward here. That is true. So we're going to head in over this direction for now, and we'll see where they show up. But as of right now, they haven't yet. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to see about dealing with this force down over here, and just slowly start pushing these guys back as usual. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Thylo K, The Omniscient, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Punching the Microphone, Nick Smarty, The Lounge STL, Spock, Moonfall, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.